So, following on from the wonderful makeup advice from Grace Fodor, who is the founder of the Studio 10 makeup range, which is wonderful for mature skin, I haven't been wearing powder for quite a while because Grace told us not to. And now you will never guess what she's done. So, Grace, well, first of all, it's lovely to see you because we haven't had you on Ageless for quite a while. I've missed you.
I know, and I've missed you. You've been busy on Hollyoaks.
I know, and I'm out of it now, so I have more time, so we can get together and play, which would
Yeah.
be lovely. Um, but yes, I need you to explain yourself, young lady, because you told me to never wear powder, that it was aging. I didn't the whole time I was on Hollyoaks. I never ever wore powder, and now what is this?
I know.
Is
I
priming
know.
effect refining powder silk. I mean,
Yeah,
what
I
is going
know.
on here?
Powder is powder. Well, listen, you're absolutely right. I do not like powder for a number of different reasons. A, because it's quite mattifying, it's quite drying. And, as you know, I like liquids and creams, much more dewy, buffs into the skin. So everything with me is about you want it to blend and buff into the skin. So it looks like second skin, it looks like real skin. And powder doesn't do that, especially powder blushes, bronzers, sits on top of the skin. And you can't blend it. And it doesn't look like your skin, and it certainly doesn't look like your skin, but better. So
And it's very aging. I mean, it is
it's
aging because,
very,
powder
very,
goes into all the cracks and the crevices. And I have to tell you, for the entire time I was out in Hollyoaks, I did not wear powder. I would say, no, Grace said I can't wear powder. Do not come near me with a powder brush. And every now and then the lights would be so bright, and they'd come and say, please, Glynis, can we just put it
a little bit.
all right, but only a little, only a little.
Yeah. So, right, let's deconstruct powder, and I
Okay.
absolutely stand by it, right?
Okay.
However, there are times where a translucent powder, so a lot of makeup artists use translucent powders. Now, a translucent powder is exactly as it says. It's translucent, you can't see it. It doesn't have that powdery, chalky finish. Um, so that's what I needed, a translucent powder. And for a number of different reasons. One is if you're using, especially around under the eye, you're using an under eye brightener, you're using a concealer, it's nice to use a translucent powder, a very, very light dusting to set it and to make sure it doesn't crease.
Right.
Or a very light dusting, if you're on set at the end of doing your makeup, just helps set your makeup, because the alternative is you're using sprays, and I'm not keen on
Yeah.
setting sprays.
Yeah.
So I was like, there is a need for a translucent powder. Or if your skin might be quite oily, you're flushing, again, you can use a very light dusting just to absorb any excess oils and put your foundation on top. So I was like, okay, professional makeup artist, translucent powders. So it's not a powder in the classic sense. I'm like,
Right.
okay,
Okay.
pots of powder are a nightmare, because I'm always doing makeup, the back of a taxi, on a train, on the run. I drop things all over the place. I am that person on the train who's on my hands and knees under the seat trying to pick up the eyeliner pencil that's fallen through the cracks of the seats.
It's a curse. I mean, I drop makeup all the time, and
Oh,
I drop compacts like this, and I won't even be on a train. I don't even have that
I
experience. And I just drop it and it goes crack. I mean, it is the bane
Yes.
of my life.
So can you imagine a pot of translucent loose powder? I mean, that would be a nightmare. So I'm like, okay, I want it classic Studio 10 in the convenience of a compact. It's completely invisible, 100% translucent, and doesn't have that powdery, chalky residue. So that's where I worked really, really hard. It's super fine. It's been jet milled 3 times. So it's so refined that when you put a light dusting on your face, it completely disappears, doesn't leave that chalky finish. So that's
Okay.
why I've got that powder. And also, I had a lot of women like reach out to us, because we're very that sort of co-creation.
Yeah.
Ask our customers all the time, what's missing, what do they want, what would we've had quite a few people saying, we'd really love a brown mascara, as an example. And powder came up quite a lot because as you age and mature, we need powder. As I said before, setting, make it longer
Setting,
lasting.
setting is good, especially under the eyes. I mean, I use
Yeah,
it.
setting, or if you're, like in the summer, you want makeup to be longer lasting. And the other thing is, because a lot of my products are cream products, they're liquid products, they really buff. Powder is longer lasting,
Yeah.
fact. But I prefer the finish of liquid and cream foundations.
Yes.
But sometimes, especially if it's hot or if you're flushing, menopausal, you want to make your makeup longer lasting. You want to set it for the day. So I was like, okay, that's why we need a powder. And there's no other texture to be able to do that.
So why have you got two in here? What's the difference between
Yes, because that is translucent, invisible.
this one is the
But
white?
yes, but here is a very soft, almost very natural, soft highlight shimmer.
This
So
one.
yes, so it's got a very, very soft, light reflecting pearl. So that was the other thing. If you wanted, maybe, you've got a lot of excess oil coming through, you want to use it as a primer, then I thought you might want to put a light dusting, and literally you use a brush, tap it on the side to get rid of any of the excess powder, just a light dusting. It's got a little bit of light reflecting pearl. So if you then put
Do a
your
little bit of a shimmer
moisturizer on
all over,
top, yeah, it just gives you a little bit of dewiness,
a little bit of glow.
a little
And
bit of
and
glow.
the white one,
Is completely invisible, translucent. So
it
even
won't
though
look
it
white on your face.
absolutely, it's definitely not chalky, it's not ghost-like, and that's a really good translucent powder, is completely
Well, I'm going to try a
translucent and
little bit
invisible.
on my quite shiny nose right now.
And the other thing as well is the finish. So even though it's slightly sort almost like a sort of demi matte, because it's invisible on the skin, it's not, so much of Studio 10 is beautiful, radiant, glowing, dewy skin. My
Yes,
foundation is dewy, like my liquid blusher, that complexion booster, is
everything,
about
Julie,
dewy.
yeah.
I don't want to knock that out with powder.
Yeah.
So
This is
that's why.
actually, I'm just trying this. I'm using the little mirror in here. This, oh my goodness, that is so fine.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is actually amazing. It's just taken the little shine that I had on my nose, but it
Yeah.
doesn't look like I've got any powder on at all.
Exactly. And sometimes, so you do want it to prime, so you can use it under your foundation or tinted
You.
moisturizer. Yeah, because, even if you've got oily skin, you want to absorb the oil and then put your makeup on top.
Well, I've never heard of a powder
I
that you
know.
put on underneath your foundation. Is that a new invention?
It's really, I wanted a powder that I could use as a primer because, I have met a few women who are really struggling, funnily enough, with oily skin, more
Really?
combination skin. And a light dusting helps even the texture of the skin. So that's why it's jet milled 3 times. It's so super fine. And the other thing about it is, if you did this,
Yeah.
like, if you did that and then rub your fingers together like that, you'll
Yeah.
see, even though it's a powder, it's almost like a creamy.
Yes. Of course.
So
So I've just put some on my little finger there and rubbing together, and it doesn't feel like a dry powder.
no,
It's got a sort of moisture to it or something, or
yeah.
creaminess. It's almost got a creaminess to it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a creme to powder, it's almost like a powder to cream. I worked so hard to get this texture right for more mature skin for all the reasons, and
You
then
know,
make
I'm absolutely intrigued. So obviously, being an actor, I'll often have, I'll go on television. I'll say, come on and do an interview, and it means getting up quite early and doing your makeup quite early, and then you sort of go on television sort of 5 or 6, if you interview 5 or 6 hours later. And of course, if you're filming something, you're just on a set all day. So
Yeah.
I'm and you do get, you just begin to get a bit shiny and you get a bit
Yeah.
hot under the lights. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't have oily skin anymore, but you do get shiny, you do get hot. So I
Mm.
can't wait to actually try this underneath my foundation.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see how that goes. But yes, seeing this now and having just put some on my nose, I would happily use this, and I will be using this now. Now I want to
Yeah.
try the other one. So I want to try the
So that's
perlite one.
it's not, I wouldn't say it's intense enough to use it as a highlighter. It's still a sort of priming setting powder, just has
Right.
little bit of
Yeah, I
light
can see that.
reflecting
Very
out. But you could use it as a soft highlight because once again, I'm not keen on really stroby highlighters. I don't think it's flattering on
yes,
the
I can see that.
skin.
It's a very, very subtle little glow.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
great. So either a very subtle little glow, which is always nice, and then the other one is it just disappears. It's like
Yeah,
you've got nothing on.
exactly. And what it won't do, because that's the thing with powders, is you think powders are chalky and matte and drying and make the skin look really dry.
And they do. I mean, they
It,
really,
it's a
really do.
it's a sort of powder creme. It absorbs, but it doesn't have any chalkiness at all.
And you actually do have form with this because your beautiful bronzing powder, uh,
Yeah,
which I absolutely love, that's very fine and also has a similar quality, doesn't it?
yes. In fact, they're very similar in formulas. The difference
Yeah.
with this one now is that you can put it under foundation.
Well, that
Uh,
is amazing. I literally cannot wait to try that because that's such a brilliant idea. Because obviously, by putting the powder on first and just so it sort of sets your skin, and
yeah,
then by putting the foundation on top, it just makes you look so dewy, but you've got that little bit of structure underneath to help.
yes, exactly.
And will that
Use
last?
it.
Will that last for a while?
Yeah. So what I like about it is it's sort of prime, so you can use it under foundation, absorbs any excess oil, helps, any emulsion to sort of stick. It sort of perfects because if you use a light dusting of powder, it does help even out the texture of the skin. If you've got more enlarged pores, it helps refine. And then, to finish, to set your makeup, because we want longer lasting. We don't really, we're rushing around so much. We don't always
Yeah,
want to be applying makeup. So it
yeah.
just sets it.
And even if you're going out for an evening, I mean, especially in the summer, but or even in the winter when the heating's on, if you going out and you've got a long evening, you're going out for dinner, then you're going to the theater or you're going to a party, you want your makeup to go on and to last, and you don't have to keep,
Yes,
touching it
exactly.
up. So it is,
And then,
perfect.
as you say, as we use, more and more concealers, especially around the eye areas or
Yeah,
concealer around here, it's good then because you get really good coverage. They're heavier in texture. So it's
yeah,
always nice to just finish off and blot powder so it
yeah,
stops it
yeah.
creasing.
Yeah, yeah, that is a great thing because I do use quite a lot of concealer, I have to say. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so that's,
I've started to use more because actually my foundation, the foundation is quite
yeah,
a full coverage. I've never ever had to worry because I can use it all around the eye area and I've never had to worry about under eye concealer. And now I do because I can tell my skin's much thinner around there and my darker circles are much more prevalent than they've ever been. Plus, I'm not sleeping as well. That's the problem. And it shows, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. Well,
And
it shows dreadfully. Yeah, I get very, I see, I've had dark circles since I was in my 20s, and I
oh,
suppose we're
have
all different.
you?
Yes, I have.
You?
And they get very dark. Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't live without the lovely camouflage pot of
Yeah,
yours.
I've just
It's
started. I've
such a
got another
lovely
little
colour.
yeah, because in the Skin Perfector kit, it's got the peach coloured, hasn't it?
Yes, and the peach color is
Under eye,
brilliant because that's another thing you taught me because I was always using colors that were too
yellow.
light and I was actually highlighting them.
Yes.
But the peach is just so, it's such a brilliant color.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it. But I do trough it on a bit. I
Yeah, well, I've
do too much.
started to do that. I've actually started to do that now. I mean, I have to. Yeah. So the peach is good because it takes out the blueness
Yeah.
of the dark circles. But
Yeah.
I had another, it's all about convenience and quick. So I'm always, this is no word of lie. I was on the train going into London, classic, doing my makeup, and didn't have the skin perfector with me. And I was really tired and I had these dark circles. And I'm like, that foundation, even though it's full coverage, is not covering it because it's just, it does sort of meld into the skin and I needed to layer it. If I'd had my powder, I could have put the
Yeah.
foundation, then I could put some powder, put some, and I could have layered it. So I'm like, this is not looking good. So do you know what I did? This was a new trick. This is a new Studio 10 Grace Fodor little tip. Is I
Yeah.
had my plumping blush. So you know the plumping blush is a real
Yeah.
complexion booster. It's
Yes.
peach. I put a sweep of the peach under my eye here.
No, the blusher.
Yes. So I put it under my eye like that, just a wash under my eye, and it helped take away the blueness. And then I put
Wow.
and it also brightens, and then I put my foundation on top.
Ooh.
That was I was like,
Very
oh,
brave. I think I'd be a bit nervous doing that, but it
no,
worked.
well, yeah, but it really, really works. It really works. You're not putting not as much
Yeah,
as you
yeah. Just a teeny tiny little bit.
just a
Yeah.
wash, and then you put, and the thing is with the blusher, you can really buff it into the skin
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really nice wash, and then put your foundation on top.
Wow, amazing.
Nice little trick.
Okay. Well, listen, you've sold me. You've sold me. I'm going to start using this now. I can't wait to use it actually. Yeah, it's been quite hard not
And it
using.
will be great actually when
Yeah,
you're on set because
yeah.
I have sent it to a few makeup artists and they're so used to using the classic loose powder and the loose powder has always been the super most fine powder you can get. So that was part of my brief with my manufacturers. I was like, I want you to put this in the convenience of a pan. So if you knock it, it will loosen up. They love it because they said everything that you say about dropping it, it's exactly what happens on a set
Oh,
because I got loads of products
tell
and
me about it. I mean, and yeah, it's very difficult on a set because there's so much going on. Okay, quickly come in, do the makeup, and
yeah,
powder goes everywhere, and it goes on your costume, and you're wearing black, and
yeah,
it's just
exactly.
absolute nightmare.
It
Yeah,
does, and it does actually go everywhere.
yeah,
You
it
know,
does.
this has much more control. So,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, so
Well,
I
thank
still
you.
stand by. I still
Uh,
stand by. Powder's not good
yeah,
for
normal
mature
powder, but
skin.
Studio 10 powder
Yeah,
is special.
special.
It's special. So, well, thanks for that, Grace, and hope to see
Oh,
you again soon.
yeah, lovely to see you.